Today, I want to tell you all about how you can volunteer abroad for free. Last year, I volunteered at a refugee camp in Greece for 3 months, and now I want to share everything I learned so you can do the same. I volunteered with a small grassroots project called We Are Here. We Are Here is a community and learning center. They organize everything from childcare and a dedicated women's space to music and English classes. I found We Are Here through an organization called Indigo Volunteers, and what they do is completely unique. All you have to do is fill out a short questionnaire talking about what you'd like to do and what skills you have, and then they match you with a project that's relevant to that expertise. Don't worry, you do not have to be a qualified English teacher or have any particular aces up your sleeve. You can just be someone who is ready to roll up their sleeves and get stuck in, because that's exactly the type of person that's needed in these areas. And by the way, everything Indigo Volunteers do is completely free for you. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I just really love Indigo, and I think what they do is incredible. Now, there are some associated costs that you should be aware of. These fall under 3 categories. First is transport, second is accommodation, and third is food. Your flights or your inward and outward transport typically are the biggest cost, but it does depend on where you're based and what your individual project works like. For me, the biggest expense was actually the accommodation. So for the first month at We Are Here, I paid 250 euros for a room in a shared house. And then the next month was 150, and any month thereafter was 100 euros. So even though that's the biggest expense I had, it's actually way less than I would pay in rent anywhere else that I've ever lived. All the money that I paid for rent went into project running costs, which include bills, car hire, and petrol. The accommodation isn't luxurious, but I really liked my room, as well as the fact that all the volunteers lived under one roof. It was really fun. The only slight issue was that it got really cold in the room, which had no central heating. I was visiting in winter and I kind of thought, oh, it's Greece, don't worry about it. But it was about -10 degrees in the night, and I would sleep in a sleeping bag underneath 3 different duvets and with a hat on, 3 hot water bottles strategically placed. It was absolutely freezing, but even that would not put me off from going back there. It was the best experience of my life. Spoiler alert! Your only other big-ish costs will be food and entertainment. In my case, I put 20 euros in a shared pot every week, and from that we bought groceries and then cooked communally, which was also really fun. I loved cooking for a big group, and I also loved not having to cook like 6 days out of 7. That was brilliant. While I was in Greece, I actually did a short interview with a past We Are Here volunteer, and here's the info that I shared there and then. For the past 5 years, I've been working as a blogger and a freelance photographer, videographer, and writer. So I've been wearing many hats, and now I've decided to take some time off and do something that's really close to my heart, and that's why I'm here. Before coming out here, I saved money so that I could support myself and I wouldn't have to rely on donations, because when I do raise funds for the project, I would much rather that money went to the refugees rather than myself. So every conversation that I had with a refugee when I first came, they asked me, Sabina, how long will you stay? And I said, maybe about a month. And they said, oh, no. We want some continuity. And I asked one lady in particular, I said, how long do you think I should stay? And she looked at me and she said, you stay as long as I stay. And I said, okay, that seems reasonable. I don't know if I'll be able to stay quite as long, but I think it's really important to have that sense of things not changing every month, because it's difficult. Imagine you're going to school and then every single month you get a new teacher. It's really hard to follow what you're doing. You can contact your lawmakers, you can contact your government, you can contact transnational organizations. And just because you're no longer here in Greece, just because you're back home and you're comfortable on your sofa and watching TV, it doesn't mean that the issue stops. So you can always continue the good fight. At camp, I work as an English teacher in the Women's Center, which is a space dedicated purely to women, and it's a really great safe environment for them to come to with no male interference, and they feel really comfortable. I really want to give you a better idea of what it's like volunteering at a refugee camp, but the truth is that there is no such thing as a regular day. There are quite often new arrivals coming in unannounced, new regulations being put into place, but we definitely did stick to a weekly schedule, or at least try to. I would typically teach English at the women's space from 12 to about 1 or 1:30, and then come home for lunch. And after that, I would go back into camp at around 3 p.m. and stay until 5 or 7, or even a bit later than that on some days. During that time, I would run one activity at the women's space, which can be anything from sewing, jewelry workshops, or makeup sessions to little dance parties that were really, really fun. And afterwards, I'd help out at the social space, which was mainly visited by teenagers and young adults, doing English conversation practice or music classes. We sometimes even put on little concerts, which I really, really enjoyed. Sometimes when we were lucky, people in camp would also invite us to their home for either lunch or dinner, and that was genuinely my favorite part of any given day and week. The people there were just so incredibly generous with what little they had, and they were so kind in teaching me their skills. I learned how to make authentic Pakistani biryani. I learned to make Kurdish dolma, Iraqi dishes, Iranian, Syrian, just so many different cultures and meals. And I even got to celebrate a few birthdays and special holidays like Nowruz. Nowruz is a New Year celebration which originated in Iran but is now observed by many countries across the Middle East and is really fun. The warmth, kindness, and generosity that people showed me were beyond inspiring. I'd never experienced anything like it. It might just be that, our Western culture is a bit different, a bit less forthcoming, but I was amazed. It reminded me of everything that is good about humanity at a time when, frankly, I kind of needed it the most. And it completely changed my outlook on life. I'm still in touch with so many of the people that I met in camp. Some of them are actually now over in Europe because they got asylum, but for the most part, they are still stuck there waiting for an answer that may never come. And I know that in the media, there's a lot less talk about the refugee crisis nowadays, but that doesn't mean it's stopped. That doesn't even mean that it's gotten better. It just means that the media has decided to focus on something else, and we know how fickle the media can be. You can't even imagine the amount of difference you can make with just a month of your time. It's truly incredible. You will be helping people on the ground, but I promise you, it will primarily be them helping you because, sorry, I get so tongue-tied because this is just so close to my heart, and I hope I've conveyed just how incredible an experience this is because it was life-changing for me. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, let me know in a comment below. Obviously, I'd love to hear that, but also let me know if you feel like I missed out anything, if you have any further questions, and I'll be sure to answer those. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss them, and I will see you next time. Bye.